Hello, so in the previous video I brought this head in, which was from MetaHuman Creator, and I made some alterations to it, brought it into Maya and made sure the rig worked. So we know that works. I can make adjustments to parts of it. I really just want to adjust anything that's not going to affect me with the eye or anything like that, because I've done a bit of work there. I could probably make these parts a little better by moving them around and fitting them in place a little neater, like that, and gradually just improve those bits, re-export, re-import, and transfer skin weights or just mimic the shape again. So I've got this head and maybe I want to make some extra changes to it and make it high poly and bake some things, so I'll make the neck a little skinnier as well. Right, so I want to subdivide this, but I'll just do one crease so that the open edges, which are really I guess just down here, so that they stay where they are. If I did subdivide without doing that, they will shrink in a little, just a tiny bit, and it won't matter too much because we're not even using the body, but just in case. So we're gonna divide this. Right, so we got a bit more geometry here, so it's a good idea to sculpt whilst you have that, so that you start to build up secondary forms, tertiary forms gradually, and not just straight to detail. It will look a lot nicer there. So I'm gonna do some extra work here and really just play around with this a bit to get it the way I want. I won't worry about the colour right now. I'm quite happy with the way it looks, that kind of hybrid zombie skin. It looks quite good, I think. I can just keep working at the general detail of it. There's no eyebrows here, but I'll make a something interesting up in this area. As I say, I'll work on different parts of the shape, just not the mouth and the eyes, because I've already done a bit of work on those, and I'm quite happy with how they're looking. Right, so I'll do another division, and I'm at the stage where I could probably add a few veins and things. So I like to just use Domain Standard and then smooth it out quite a lot and get it kind of bulky in some areas, and do the same on the other side. Make different shapes. Right, and just taper the ends a bit more. Go ahead and add some extra detail here. I'm going to turn off the symmetry because I want to be able to make this look asymmetric at this point, and just do something similar on the other side. I'm just building up these forms. I'm showing this just for quickness. Really, you would spend a long time making this all perfect and make a nice long Twitch stream on it. Right, brainy dude. And you can divide one more time and do any other detail. You can maybe do some alphas. So let's see, use my favorite alpha, this one, and I'll use the drag method. And I'll also, let's go to the alpha settings and modify it, and I want to invert this. I can actually do it this way, right? I've inverted it, and now I've got these little bumps which are cool. So what I'll do is I'll set the Z intensity quite low, turn off my symmetry there, and I'll just bring some of these into the skin. I'm going to add a bit of texture to the forehead. I don't want to do this everywhere. I want to make this feel like a kind of a feature of this creature. Feature of this creature. Right, I want to kind of make this the unique selling point, that they just have these little bumps in certain places, and that's maybe what makes them attractive or something, right? Let's do one more division because I want to make that alpha just a bit stronger, so I'll play with the contrast, and I can bring the Z intensity up a bit. There we go. Maybe the female of this species is attracted to this pattern, and the more they have of it, the more you know the script, you know how it goes. Something in nature is always more attractive that the female of the species would go for. Okay, so that's done. So I can jump down to the lower subdiv, and then I'll bake those details. Right, so I've exported the low poly and high poly meshes, and I'm just gonna grab those now, import them. I'm using Marmoset Toolbag 3 because I find it just a little bit simpler than Marmoset Toolbag 4. I do have it, but I've never really swapped over yet, and I may use it for some texturing. I can always try it for this, which would be cool. One thing I do want to do is locate the file for the texture. So I don't exactly know where that is. I think it might be in the folder where I downloaded the MetaHuman, and that will be in my library for the Megascans under DHI, and this one, Human Alien Base Source Assets Maps. There we go. Okay, so everything's here. Let's just bring the light around, and let's add in a better light actually. Okay, so that's the high poly. I want to bake details, so loaf of bread, drag in the high and drag in the low, and then just check the cage, change the cage opacity, and we can see I can turn off the high just to check the distance. I'll just say no, don't want to do that yet. Let's just check that. We've got the, what's that one? And yeah, this is the low poly. It is still quite of a high poly count for it, you know, to cope with the movement. But now that we've got that, we just want to bake the details from high. So the cage doesn't need to be too big, so I'll just enable both, and I'll just turn off this auto bake so it doesn't ask for a file. I'll just make this really small. Now you can see the high poly coming through, and I just want to cover that just enough and a wee bit more, and just check all around it. Maybe change the material here to black just to see it better. So I'm going to go back to the cage, and you can see, you know, the little black bits coming through. So these are all going to be missed if I don't catch them. So I'll just make sure I get all of those little black dots out by increasing the cage and just a little bit more. Right, that's done. We want to bake a normal map, so I'm just going to turn everything off here that I've got enabled, and I'm just going to go for normals and a test bake. So I'll go for here, I'll go bake maps, AlienHead, and I'll do PNG. Let's call this test 1, and I'll do a bake. Okay, I'm going to preview and hide high poly. Right, so this is the low poly with a normal map on it now. So we can see if we change the properties here. So it's just a low poly. Again, not too low poly, but it's got all these details into from the normal map, which is what we want. And also, now that that works, I'll bake a curvature and an ambient occlusion, and maybe a thickness map as well, and an object normal, just because. Let's see, I want to bring this up to 64 and this up to 8192. We want a really good bake in the end, even though I don't have all the detail for it. In fact, 4096 will be enough for this, so I'll go ahead and bake that. Ambient occlusion will take the longest, and we'll get a progress bar for it. Okay, so all the textures are now baked, and you can see that it's a higher resolution. I'm going to bring in the curvature map just so you can see that a bit better, and I'll bring the base color up. Okay, now I'm going to go to occlusion and bring in the occlusion map, and also I'm going to change this to subsurface scatter, the diffusion profile here, and I'm going to add the thickness map, and I'll change the color to something more green toned. You can see the range is a bit off, so we'll play with that, and play with the translucency color as well. Okay, and this gives a strange pink light, so I'm just going to bring this to white, and where this red is coming from, but let's try and make this better. Strangely, the scatter color is the opposite of what I expect. Anyway, let's change the skin to something more green, just to give a green face sort of look. And the scatter depth is too high. I'm just going to get rid of the thickness map. Seems to be not working as well as intended. Just give everything the same amount. Could be the translucency is supposed to go in there. Yeah, it's not apparent though. I always play with the depth, just a touch, and see if we can change the tone a bit. Right, so there's our green skin. I don't like it that much because I like the original colours. So I'll go back to where they were. So in here, Megascans library, downloaded, DHI, and this one, AK, source, alien source assets, maps, and I'm looking for the head color map. It's this one. Okay, I can bring that back to roughly where it was. That's cool. And we might even have other map types, so head, micronormal, roughness. There we go, roughness map can use. I'll bring that down a bit. What other maps could it be? Scatter maps. I think they've got detail normals as well. We can bring in a micro normal detail, head normal, micro normal map, and you see that's some nice skin texture there, and we can play with the tiling of that. It looks like it needs the green flipped, so I'll do that. Of this one. There we go. Okay, and it gets us that nice skin texture, and play with the scatter a bit more to get that going through there. And I can actually use the cavity map. I'll use the curvature one that I baked, and see if changing that helps. No. Okay, let's bring these about halfway. So that gives it a bit more of a skin-like texture. Let's put that roughness a bit more. There we go. And any other maps that I could use. Head normal, head roughness. These are wrinkle maps. Color maps, cavity map. We do have a cavity map here. Let's see what happens when I load this one. Okay. So that looks good. So I could go ahead and work even more on this texture to get it looking better. Looks a bit red now. Okay, so that's the basis of it. Do more like makeup detail inside Substance Painter or something like that. I might even try doing some texture work here. So let's bake out the, well, we've already got the bakes, right? We've got all the textures. Let's switch to Toolbag 4. Okay, this is Toolbag 4. I'm going to import the low poly mesh. And we're going to want to make some new painting, so I'm going to wing this because I don't actually know how to do it here. Right, but I know I want to do a new painting setup, a new painting session, so let's jump to texture, or let's see what setup's got. New set, animation set. Okay, let's do the texture one. New set, layers, materials. Okay. Canvas, no project selected. Create a new material. Some. We do have some materials here. Let's download this one. I don't actually have any layers just yet. I can't drag this in or drag it on it. Oh yeah, that worked. So let's have a look at the layers. Okay, this is what I want. I want to add a texture project, and now I can go and find all the maps. So my big maps, there's my curvature, my normal map, object normal, material ID I don't have, AO I've got. I also have thickness, so I can add new thickness, and that should do it. So now I've got all these maps. You can see how this looks. I can also bring in some other ones, some additional maps. We've got these output maps, but we also want some extra ones, and I'm thinking if we add a new layer, we could probably do a fill layer and find a texture for it. So look here, and I could probably find the original head color map. It's got all this tiling on it by the looks of it. This should be so which one is the right one? So we started a new material project, but I don't have a material that reflects this. Apply select material. Okay, so create a new material. Can we make this from a project? What's this new group? No. AlienHead Texture Project. Can we create a material from the project? Material. So we do have a material here, surely, right? This is what this is. That's the face, contrast. We've got our layers here. That's this layer. But what material is this? What material is this? Oh, so drag and drop materials here, linked materials. So can I say AlienHead? And then put AlienHead on this? Haha, okay. That kind of worked, but this looks weird. It's because I guess where I've got triplanar and we want UV based. And there we go. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So we've got a fill layer with the base head and any other map we want to put in there. So I could go ahead and grab the roughness map. That fixes some of that. Play with the roughness amount. Metalness, normal map. We use our own one. Bump map, ambient occlusion. Yeah, we can probably use this one. Okay, and play with the contrast and strength and stuff. And there we go, we've got the start of texturing pipeline inside of Marmoset Bag 4, which I've never ever used. Let's do a paint layer, and I'll use my tablet because I've never trusted any new software for pen pressure, but let's see how this goes. Right, so far it looks like it's not getting any pen pressure, so let's assume there's some sort of brush setting. So let's see, brushes. We've got this one, still not doing any pen pressure. Let's see, there must be a window for it. Window, library, tool settings. Okay, we do need a way to brush onto this with some kind of ease. So this is the difference that I'm seeing at the minute between this software and other ones I won't mention. We're just looking for okay, the brushes look like they're up here, opacity, and how do we make it controlled by pen pressure? So let's see, is it support, tablet friendly input? That could be it. So let's try. Yep, that seems to be doing some pressure things. Not doing size with pressure, but I guess there'll be some brush setting somewhere. Let's download blob. And there must be a brush window. Linked materials, project settings, tool settings. There we go. So we've got now dynamics. I think this is it. Pressure, there we go, pressure. And now, yeah, let's do opacity with pressure. It seems to be okay. Let's make this off and off. Right. Cool, so now I should be able to colour this in. I'm on a paint layer. So I'm in the layer, I'm in the paint layer. I'm using a brush. I want to give it a colour. Is that here? No. Okay. Yep. What about symmetry? What is this one? Split this view horizontally, vertically. What about symmetry? Symmetry. I'm completely guessing at stuff here, but if we can paint in symmetry, this would be fun. So this options. Where do you think it would be? Spacing, squish, scatter. Let's do some some of that. Flow, opacity. Yeah, adaptive flow. Split horizontal. Split vertical. That just does that. Let's close this one. Let's Google it. So marmoset tool tag for symmetry. Also, it doesn't seem to have a manual online that I can use to search symmetry. Okay, not that you can delete posts here. Okay, that never really explained it. This could be why people use that other one, because there's no symmetry option. Anyway, let's do it without symmetry, unless, yeah. Let's just paint some tone here. So I do have opacity flow. Yeah, I'm making some dark areas around the eyes. Let's say I wanted to paint bumps, so maybe I can switch to painting height. Oh, that's the layer. Paint bump. Still painting color. Maybe put this back to albedo and a paint with bump here. I have to set the height, don't I? Oh, I think that worked. Yeah, it was good guesswork. So I'm gradually figuring out the interface here, but oh, I pressed S by accident. Oh no, oh, I'm pressing too many things now. Oh, what is this? Translate, rotate, scale. Okay, so back to the painting. So texture project. I don't know why everything went dark all of a sudden. I did press S, and that might have been a mistake. And maybe I turned the lights off. I turned the sky off. Let's undo a few times. There we go. What did I actually do? No idea. Anyway, we've got this. So I can paint extra bump detail. And brush really small. Right, that's all done. Let's go. That's it. Ship it. Finish the game. So I'm just learning how to use this, and I guess the one thing I don't see is the symmetry for brushing. That would be good. Let's just see if there's any update. This is the latest version, 4.04. Let's just see what version we're at. Yeah, we're at 404, and I don't think there's anything on. A lot of ray tracing things, shadow catcher, library improvement. But I don't actually see anything to do with symmetry, texturing, math, triplanar, fix bug. I guess it's still quite early days for fixing loads of bugs. bug fixes, Python, rendering, texturing, scattering, scene meshes, baking. Yeah, definitely symmetry must be down the line, not requested so much yet, but there we go. So it's possible to texture inside here. You just have to link your material, and yeah, a little bit similar to another product that I know, but yeah, so we could totally texture this guy. And maybe in the next video I'll show you me setting this up in Unreal Engine. So thanks for watching, bye.